Hi, I'm Melissa McLeod. Welcome to Oceanside Restorative Yoga. For today's practice, we'll be using a bolster. But if you don't have a bolster, you can take a blanket and roll it tightly and then loop it up with straps. Everything in practice should feel safe and comfortable and appropriate for you. I hope you enjoy the practice.
The main objective of this practice is to relax. Find a space that's clean and quiet, somewhere where you're able to be by yourself with no distractions. Begin on your back, using your bolster or your rolled up blanket underneath your knees. Set yourself down and move the chin a little bit closer to the chest, shoulders away from the ears. Hands can rest palms face up beside the body. If it's comfortable, your knees can open out to the sides. Soles of the feet can be close-ish towards each other. If at any point this starts to feel uncomfortable on the knees, you can still keep the bolster underneath the knees, but readjust the legs so the toes and knees more point up towards the sky. Zeroing in on the breath, allowing the belly to rise and fall with each inhale and exhale. Allow breath to move through the entire body, smooth and steady. Allowing the eyes to sink back into the skull, the space in between the eyebrows to relax. Let the jaw get slack and heavy. The tongue can relax. If it's helpful, you can open and close your mouth a few times or shift the jaw around. Create a little bit more space in between your fingers and your toes. And let gravity do the work. The collarbones open wide. The hips can settle. If you find it challenging to focus on your breath, you might rest your hands on your low belly. And the feedback from your hands can sometimes just give you a little bit more to connect with. In a restorative practice, there'll be long periods of silence. To help stay connected, keep bringing yourself back to the different sensations of breath. The sound, the depth, the temperature of the air that you're drawing in, the places where the breath moves with ease, but also the places where the breath doesn't really get to. It feels a little bit stuck. Soft breath moving in and out. If the mind wanders away, don't worry about it. You're normal. What's important is that you continue to bring your awareness back as often as you need to. Try not to judge or criticize yourself. It doesn't help. This is often the most challenging thing about our yoga practice, so you're not alone. Breath moves in, breath moves out. This position with the legs can be helpful for women who are menstruating and having cramps. Starting to move out of the posture, taking your time and rolling over to one side, grabbing the bolster, bringing it to one side of the mat, lying back down again and setting yourself up so that You can twist into the bolster. Your top leg will come to rest completely on the bolster. So from the knee down towards the toes. And the arms stretch out towards T position with the palms facing up. If the shoulders are jumping up towards the ears, just draw the hands down a little bit lower. So lower than T position might feel more comfortable. If it feels like it's too much to use the bolster in this manner, you could always get the bolster out of the way and just stack the legs with the knees bent. If it's safe for you, the head can turn away from the knees, but it doesn't have to. Breathing into your shoulders, chest, torso, and hips. This class is a combination of classical restorative postures and also some variations on classical restorative postures, and this is a variation. We hold for a lot longer in restorative, up to 5 minutes in some of the poses. If your body gives you the signals that you need to come out of a pose, please make sure that you do. You're welcome to modify the postures or just come out and rest on your back or your belly or your seat. The main focus is the breath, calming down the mind, focusing on relaxation. So not as much doing, moving as a typical class, but very, very necessary for more bodies, more minds, sometimes than we realize. Allow your ears to be open and receptive to sound. Notice the sound of the waves, the sound of your breath moving in and out. At any point, you can let the breath out through the mouth with a ha or a sigh, and sometimes that'll help you soften a little bit more. If you notice the mind wandering off, it's okay. Keep coming back. It's no big deal. Feel how the breath can move into the tight places. Starting to release out of this, moving into more of a hip opener. So turning towards that bent knee and seeing if you can turn yourself towards your belly. For some bodies, this is way too much. Your option is that you can move the bolster out of the way and just work with the floor, or maybe just come to rest on your belly without bringing the leg into it. The breath can now move a little bit more into the back of the body. Everyone's practice and body is so different. So if what I'm suggesting isn't appropriate for you, it's okay. You can come out of the posture at any point. You can modify, or you can rest. Imagine that you can breathe into the space right above your back waistband. Fill that area up with your breath. Tune into your sense of touch. Notice the temperature of the room, the air against your skin, and the different textures of your clothes against your skin. Feel the breath move through the body. Remember that at any point you can come out of the posture. Know that with the breath, you're inhaling to draw in energy and prana and vitality, good health and positivity. Your exhale is the part of the breath where you let go stress, toxins, tension, old emotions, old feelings. Let your exhale be full, deep, so that you have space for that inhale, for new, for fresh, for whatever you need. Starting to gently come out of the posture, pressing yourself up to try the sequence on the other side. Move slowly and ignore me if you need to. Stay longer if you're comfortable. Bolster goes on the other side. Settling onto your back for your supported twist. Adjust the bolster so that it can support your whole lower leg. Arms stretch out, shoulders drop down. If you're hovering at all with any of your body, make sure you support it, placing blankets or pillows underneath. The idea is you're allowing your body to completely open up and melt into the floor. Twists are wonderful for wringing out the spine and wringing out the internal organs. They're detoxifying by nature. Really zero in on that exhale, which is also detoxifying, so you're able to really let go. Breathe the breath all the way out. Even though your eyes are closed, you can still see. You might be able to take in light or shape or color. So just notice visually what's there. Your eyes are closed to the external world, but they're open and aware, awake to the inside. Imagine that you can see your breath as it moves through your body. This twist also helps to open through the lungs and the diaphragm. So notice how the sense of breath is maybe starting to feel like you have a little bit more ease, a little bit more space. Breath is ever present. Mind is getting quieter and more focused. If it feels like you're ready to move on, you might turn yourself towards that bent knee to work towards the belly. Often the postures are quite different from side to side, and that's really normal. So feel free to adjust as you need to. Because it's such a slow practice, we tend to get a little bit cooler. So feel free at any point to grab layers or drape a blanket over yourself. Notice where the sensation is and send breath into that place. And when I talk about sensation, I mean a sense of stretch. And even if there's a strong sense of stretch, it should always feel safe, comfortable, and appropriate for you. If at any point you're starting to feel like a stretch is feeling uncomfortable or you're getting towards pain, that is an indication that you need to come out of the posture. There's nothing wrong with you. Just might be that the posture isn't the best for your body. Other cues to look for are when the breath starts to get a little bit choppy or a little bit lost. It might mean that you're stretching beyond your comfortable limitations. So coming out and finding that soft rhythm of breath again, that sense of comfort again. Belly rises and falls. Breath is smooth and deep. The exhale is thorough. Every so often, you might just remind yourself that you've got nowhere to go, nothing to do. This is your time. Start to bring yourself up if you're ready to come out. Moving now towards a supported child's pose. Take your bolster, bring it out from your body. Go a little bit closer. Need enough space to be able to rest your entire spine on, even up to the top of the head. Inhaling in and exhaling to walk down. You can turn your head to one side here. If you wear glasses, you might take your glasses off and just leave them beside your mat for now. Fill up the back of your body with breath. On the inhale, filling up the low back. When the low back fills up, the breath then spills into the mid back. Finally, it moves up into the upper back. As you're letting that go, releasing from your upper back, mid, low. If at any point here your knees or your feet start to get uncomfortable, you can always come out of the posture. If you'd like, you might turn your head in the other direction just to even out that neck stretch. Child's pose is wonderful for opening up the back of the body. Feel that softness around the forehead, the eyes, the jaw. Never feel selfish about taking this time out for yourself. You deserve it. We're able to take better care of others when we look after our own needs as well. So know that you'll be a better partner, parent, worker, friend, by giving yourself this time. When you're ready, you might bring yourself towards a downward dog. So slowly coming out, extending the legs, hands spread wide. Push the hips up and back, so an upside down V pose. If you'd like to move the legs a little bit more, you can bend one knee at a time. It's called walking your dog. The other heel pushes a little bit closer towards the floor. Keep sending breath into the back of the body and enjoy this nice release for the legs. As you're ready, come down. Set the bolster up so it comes directly out from your hip. Legs are kind of stacked. Turn yourself towards the bolster, one hand on either side, and then start to walk yourself down. Turn the head in the same direction as the knees. Rest the hands where they're comfortable. Breathe. The legs could stay stacked, or you can give yourself a little bit more space there to open up the hips if that feels comfortable. This supported twist is wonderful for helping to stretch out the back, the side body, and the muscles in between the rib cage. You'll get that extra space for breath, the lungs, the diaphragm. So continue to notice that, the breath, how it moves, what it feels like, where it goes. You have the option here to turn the head in the other direction. For some bodies, this will feel very comfortable. For others, it's too much on the neck. So if you try it, it doesn't feel right, just come back. Turn your head in the same direction as the knees. Bring awareness to your mouth. You might swallow or run your tongue over your teeth. Notice the fullness of the mouth. Notice if any taste lingers here. Notice the texture. Maintaining that sense of softness in the jaw. When you're ready to come up, bring the hands underneath the shoulders and gently push yourself back up. Turn the body to try the other side. Readjust the legs. Turn yourself towards the bolster, one hand on either side. Inhale. Exhale, fold down. Lots of length. Relax your hands wherever it's comfortable. And still feel like the shoulders are coming down away from the ears. Take the legs a little bit wider if it feels comfortable. Breathe. Keep coming back. It doesn't matter where your mind goes. You always have the next inhale to reconnect. Know too that it's yoga practice and it takes a lot of it. The ancient yogis called our mind monkey minds. They're jumping around from thought to thought, one thing to another. So in our practice, we're trying to learn how to calm things down a little bit. It's not that we're trying to eliminate our thoughts. We're just seeing if we can quiet down the mind and turn up the awareness on the breath. You can turn your head in the other direction if that feels comfortable. But again, your body will give you the signals if it's too much. Bring awareness to the nostrils. Notice how the breath moves here. See if you can follow the breath all the way down, and then turn around and follow it all the way out. Notice the texture of the air, the temperature, and those subtle temperature changes. Typically a little bit cooler on the inhale, and then a little warmer on the exhale. Preparing to come up, hands underneath the shoulders, gently press up. Changing the bolster now, so now it's coming horizontally on your mat. Turn yourself towards the bolster, have your knees underneath, and really scoot the hips back so the base of the pelvis is moving back behind you. Take an inhale, get some length in the spine. And then on the exhale, fold yourself down. You might need to support your head here, so you could bend your arms. Maybe you're able to rest your forehead on your forearms. Really feel like the hips are moving back behind you, and you're folding forward from the hip creases. For some bodies, you'll need a lot more support, so you could always stack up extra pillows and blankets on your lap or on your legs. If this causes any crankiness in the low back, feel free to come out at any point. Other poses you could try are the supported child's pose again, or maybe coming to rest on your belly. Full, complete breath. Staying present and aware, and not being too bothered if the mind wanders off. This supported pose is wonderful for stretching out the back of the body. Every so often you might need to just press your hips back a little bit more so you can still maintain the length in the low back. Keep breathing into the sensation, allowing the mind to get quieter, the breath to get deeper. practice self-care. So come out at any point if you need to. Notice how the breath is never static. There's always a little bit of movement, even in the still postures. Deepen in the exhale and coming out by hands, coming underneath the shoulders, press yourself up. Take your time, countering out that forward fold with something to open up the chest and shoulders, heart bed pose. Bring yourself forward onto your mat. Place your bolster now on the vertical line. Hips are quite close to the bolster. And then lay down on the bolster. Lift the hips, tuck your tailbone slightly, move your chin a little bit closer to your chest. If it's uncomfortable on the low back, put something underneath the hips. Option is to take the feet into butterfly, soles of the feet together, knees open out to the sides. Or take a cross-legged position, like you were seated, cross-legged on the floor. This will open up your hips a little bit more, and if it feels uncomfortable, you can always bend the knees or straighten the legs. Just being mindful of the knees. Heart bed is wonderful for opening up the front of the body. So allow the shoulder blades to wrap around the bolster, the collarbones get wide. The hands relax. The jaw is soft. The breath is present. If your legs are crossed, you might now cross the other way, which will feel a little bit different. It might be a little bit tighter on the side, but it still should feel safe. If it's too much, feel free to come out of it, find anything else that's better. Feel where the stretch is in your body, and then direct the breath into that place. Use your breath to open up the tight spots. Allowing the exhales to deepen. Release the legs. And then rolling over to your side. Making our way towards your back, move the bolster out of the way. Come to lie on your back. And then push the feet firmly into the floor to lift the hips, sliding the bolster right underneath the pelvis. So it's not meant to support the low back, just the pelvis. You can stay like this, or you can pick the feet up off the floor and extend them up to the sky for a variation of legs up the wall. Arms could stretch back behind you if that felt comfortable. This is a gentle inversion. Some students love this pose and could be here for a while. Other students not so much. So remember, your option is that you could always bring your feet down, knees are bent, taking a supported bridge rather than this legs up in the air. And the arms back behind you, that's only if it feels comfortable. It might feel better to keep your arms alongside your body or T position. If you're menstruating, you might not practice inversions. You might stick in that supported bridge pose, feet down on the mat, knees bent, pelvis still supported by the bolster. You can keep the legs extended, or you could experiment with taking the legs wide, stretching out to the side, or one going forward, one going back, circling the ankles. Just see what your body wants to do. You might release the arms and bring the legs down. One foot stays flat on the ground. The other leg extends, reaches out through the heel. The heel can still rest on the floor. So a slight elevation stretching through your hip flexors, your hip creases. This needs to feel safe on the low back. If it doesn't, you might stick with supported bridge, knees bent, feet flat on the ground, bolster underneath the pelvis. Keep soft in the jaw. Open and close the mouth. Shift the jaw around. Whatever you need to do. Switch legs if it feels comfortable. And breathe. You might move to full extension with the legs. Both legs extend out. Again, just be mindful of the back. The arms could stretch back behind you if that was comfortable. If the arms can't completely rest, try a T position or shallow V. Really focus on sending breath into the front of the body. Chest, shoulders, torso, hips. Notice the sense of space in the body. In our yoga practice, we're trying to open up and make room physically, and then we're able to move the breath into that space. Starting to come out, feet come underneath the knees. Lift the hips, move the bolster out of the way. You might want to draw the knees in towards the chest to release the low back. Otherwise, just coming straight into your Savasana, our corpse pose. The legs could be fully extended, but if it feels more comfortable, bend the knees with or without the bolster. Hands are palms face up and arms are just a little bit out from the body. Breath returns to a rhythm that makes sense for you. Savasana is a chance for everything to integrate. The breathing that we've done, the pranayama, and the postures that we've done, the asanas. Continue to remind yourself that there's nowhere to go. You have nothing to do. This is your time. Let each exhale drop you deeper. Start to let your inhale get a little bit stronger. Add a little bit of movement. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. When you're ready, roll over to your side. Take a few breaths here. Gently start to press yourself up. Come to a comfortable seated posture. Bring your hands together to prayer position. Let your head drop down. Thank your body for all its hard work. Thank yourself for practicing today. Lift your head. Namaste.